So guys, paint me a picture of Halloween in Arkansas. Do you guys have any like good harvest festivals or anything like that? I feel like Little Rock would be awesome for like a harvest festival.
Well, Melody, you're the painter.
Meant to, like, verbally paint.
Oh, I see. We did do a bitchin' corn maze one year.
Yes, Conway has like plenty of little pumpkin patches, corn mazes,
Are there
haunted hay rides.
Yeah, are there any corn mazes in LA? I feel like there couldn't be.
I think there are, but like the outskirts of LA.
Right.
Like I hear about Harvest Festival. There's lots of like pumpkin patches. Like there's one in Toluca Lake, and they have like alpacas there.
Oh,
and stuff that you could pet. Yeah, which is cute.
Spooky alpacas.
So they have like little, pumpkin patches and things like that. But like a full-on harvest festival, I haven't run into yet. We have lots of like food truck fests and things like that. But,
spooky food trucks.
Let's make a food truck maze. Yeah, I would love to do a corn maze, but
Oh man, well I was talking about this the other day with somebody, how when I was a kid, you watch Halloween movies and you see like tons of people out in the street trick-or-treating, pulling pranks, all that kind of, the typical hocus pocus type scene or whatever. And when I was growing up, when I went out on Halloween, it was kind of like, yeah, there's people out walking around, but it's like pretty few and far between. Like there might be like, 5 people on one street, walking around trick-or-treating or whatever. And you have to skip like every 8 houses. Like every 8 houses, there might be someone with lights on, handing out candy. And I was like, man, movies just like blow everything out of proportion. And then I moved to Burbank and I realized, oh, this is real. This is amazing.
I mean, my parents did not let us celebrate Halloween.
Right.
That was pretty conservative family. So like they would turn the lights out on Halloween so no one would come by. And it was so weird.
That's how you get toilet papered.
No, I just didn't really. I got older. I was like, that's just.
Right,
very nice.
That's part of what. Yeah, that's part of what I realized is that I just was raised in a conservative area where like a third of our state just believes that Halloween is evil and doesn't celebrate
Your
it.
parents were okay with it though.
Yeah, my parents are okay with everything. They're pretty laid back.
Yeah.
I was sneaking into R-rated movies.
We actually had
like
when I was very very little. I have a memory of my parents like throwing candy like all around the yard. It was almost like an Easter egg hunt, but it was like we would just pick up the candy off the ground.
Oh, I thought you meant like throwing it violently.
No, it was like
get out of here,
trying to make it like
kids.
Easter and Halloween combined. It was really weird.
oh, that's an interesting combination there.
Yeah.
There actually are a lot of because there's like a church on every other corner down here.
Oh yeah.
A lot of churches do like harvest festivals,
Or like
quotation
trunk
fingers.
or treats.
Oh yeah, and something called a trunk or treat, where you just like go to a parking lot and then you just go from like car trunk to car trunk and get candy from there. It's not as satisfying as trick-or-treating.
That sounds like car trunk to car
Unmarked
trunk doesn't
vans.
sound right. Yeah, that
Yeah. All it takes is for one unmarked van to sneak in and be like, yeah, we're a part of this. Come and get candy in our van, kids. It's Krusty the Clown here.
If you're going car truck to car trunk, definitely check your candy. Welcome to another Mishable podcast, Horror Decomposed. I know it's been a long time. In case you forgot, my name is Zach. Yeah, sorry about the hiatus. I don't know. We're just kind of jazzing a Halloween special right now.
Oh yeah, we're riffing. We're jazzing it up.
I am joined by the dynamic duo, the Pistols, Kris Pistol.
Hello.
He's a maniac on the floor. And the wonderfully
never seen before.
Talented, I don't know if she's a maniac on the floor, but I'm sure she's an equally good dancer. Melody Pistol.
Say hello.
Hello. Sorry.
Yeah, for those of you that do not follow Kris on Instagram, he posts a lot of dancing videos like every Friday. It's fantastic.
Yeah, well, I get to work before everybody else, and sometimes I have nothing to do.
Has anyone like walked in on you doing that?
No.
Damn.
But even if they did, I would just be like, "What's up?" Out of breath.
Yeah, you sent me like a Marco Polo once. It was like you demanded a video back from me, and I was like, I'm not quite as suave with my dancing. So like I was trying to do one, and then there was like people like walking out because like I teach, and so.
What did you forget, Zach?
Oh, I got a Marco Polo from you too, Chris. I just got a notification today. It was like Chris was waiting to hear from you, and I'm like, oh,
really?
Yeah. I was like, what did she send me?
Sorry, man. I sent you that a long time ago.
No, I thought I saw it, but
Well,
I guess I didn't. Yeah.
Marco Polo is weird. They'll send you notifications and just be like, "You haven't talked to this person in a while. Why don't you say hi?" And I'm like, "I haven't talked to that person in 8 years. I'm not saying hi."
So when you make these dance videos, do you have the music playing, or are you just dancing to silence and then you add
No, I usually have the music playing. We have an Alexa orb
Okay.
in our office that I like to play music for, and then other people turn it down.
Well, happy Halloween, everybody out there listening.
Happy Halloween!
This will probably come out like right around Halloween, so I hope you're enjoying the fall festivities. And yeah, Chris, you were in Arkansas. Both of you guys are in Arkansas, obviously. And
yeah, we're getting the fall weather right now. It's very nice.
What do you describe as fall weather, Chris? It's like, well, it starts in the morning.
The temperature doesn't get above 75, which is great. And then
like in the afternoon, it's like 75 or so.
What is like a fall in Arkansas compared to LA outside of the leaves changing, obviously? I mean, like, what are the festivities like out there?
I mean, some haunted houses pop up, I guess. But I mean, it mostly is the weather change. That's something I missed when I lived out in LA. It was like, I was like, oh, it still pretty much feels like spring out here. I remember when I lived in LA, I went with some friends to Big Bear. Have you ever been to Big Bear?
Yeah, when I was like 10.
Well, it's up in the mountains. It's like only an hour and a half away from LA, but it's like so far up in the mountains that it actually gets cooler. And I remember feeling like a cold breeze on my face and being like, oh, fall, the crispness. I need cider now.
We do have cider out here.
Well, there you go.
And
if you really want to feel like Halloween in LA, though, what you need to do is take a trip to South Pasadena and go visit multiple locations that were used in the film Halloween. And that will really make you feel like Halloween.
I need to visit the hedge, because I've seen the house multiple times, but I've not seen the iconic hedge, and I know it's there.
Yeah, it's like a couple blocks away. I did like all of them. I mean, the Jamie Lee Curtis house is literally like a block away. We went and visited that when we were on our honeymoon last time we were in LA. So
yeah. So today we're going to talk about some more recent Halloween like specials or TV episode specials, I guess.
Oh yeah, I love my Halloween TV specials, Zach.
Yeah, so we've talked about like older Halloween specials in the past, and I think we did animated Halloween specials last year. And I should mention Casey is not here today. He is busy with teaching stuff, but he's with us in.
Actually, I killed him.
Yes, he's dead. No, he's with us in Halloween spirit. But we're going to talk about some newer Halloween episodes. I had no idea what Chris and Melody are going to bring up. I've got a couple things, and maybe we'll talk about some other stuff.
We mean when we say newer, I'm like aiming for 2010s and above.
I was just going to say,
I refuse to believe that Community. I refuse to believe that Community is over 10 years old at this point.
Oh yeah. So let's start the spookiness. Who wants to? I'm sorry, everybody. I haven't done this in a minute. Who wants to go?
Well, I drank some sleepy time tea, and it's like,
yeah, I will go. I've been missing this.
I'm sad I don't have cider with me. I haven't made my cider yet. I got to go to Trader Joe's and get some cider and then do my thing.
Oh yeah. If you find yourself at Universal Studios, you can get some nice pumpkin juice and different kinds of fall vegetables, fall beverages in the Harry Potter land.
Pumpkin juice. I don't know if I've ever had pumpkin juice.
Pumpkin juice. It's basically like cider, but kind of juicy.
I was thinking it was like pumpkin puree or something.
Cider,
really?
Cider is juice.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's more
like
of
a fruity pumpkin.
It's more like if cider were kind of a little bit more like orange juice, like the consistency, I suppose. But they also have what's the other one? Butterbeer. They also have butterbeer.
Butterbeer, of course. Okay, so, Kris, you wanted to start things off, so let's do it. Kris, take it away.
Well, I just love Halloween episodes. I mean, I like most people. I like the older ones, the nostalgic ones from our childhood, but even the more recent ones I will rewatch, especially if it's like one of my favorite shows. And one of my favorite shows that I've rewatched multiple times is Community. And they have some great Halloween episodes. I feel like a lot of my favorite shows really like lean into Halloween episodes. I mean, Frasier usually had some good ones. I'm trying to think who else has good Halloween
Frasier episodes. Is a blind spot for me, but I was like brought up on Seinfeld more than Frasier.
Yeah, I was surprised you even like watched Frasier. I was like, why is this on
I felt like
Frasier.
You like drew a line in the sand, and it was like Seinfeld on one and Frasier on the other.
Really? I always thought Friends was on the other end of that
Friends.
one.
No, I guess Friends.
Cheers growing up, and that's where.
And then there was Martin. Was the other one Martin Lawrence show, which I haven't seen, which I hear is good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was on the Seinfeld line of the fence, but I hear good things about Frasier.
I mean, Seinfeld's great. Don't get me wrong, but I have a soft spot in my heart for Frasier. No, but Community has some great Halloween episodes, especially the first 2 seasons. Those are the ones that I rewatched the most. Those are I think the golden years. But the first season, the group, if you've seen Community, you know that it's basically about a study group in a community college, and they put on a Fiesta Dios de los Muertos, so the Day of the Dead party. That they're organizing, and Pierce, played by Chevy Chase, ends up taking drugs and going crazy. Abed is dressed like Batman and taking it very seriously, and hilarity ensues.
Batman.
Yeah.
Are you staying for the party?
If I stay, there can be no party. I must be out there in the night, staying vigilant. Wherever a party needs to be saved, I'm there. Wherever there are masks, wherever there's tomfoolery and joy, I'm there. But sometimes I'm not, because I'm out in the night, staying vigilant, watching, lurking, running, jumping, hurtling, sleeping. No, I can't sleep. You sleep. I'm awake. I don't sleep. I don't blink. Am I a bird? No. I'm a bat. I am Batman. Or am I? Yes, I am Batman. Happy Halloween.
You seen this one, Zach?
Abed is dressed like Batman. What season is this?
This is season 1.
Season 1. Oh, yeah. I'm sure I definitely saw it, but it's been a while. What is the main crux of the episode?
Well, the main crux is that they're just having a Halloween party. Jeff doesn't want to come. He's hitting on a teacher, one of their teachers, which I still think is weird, even though it's a community college and he's
hitting on everybody.
He's an adult,
though.
and the teacher's the same age.
That's his character.
I know, but it's just weird. I don't know. Just the dynamic is strange to me. So he doesn't want to attend the party, but he promised Annie he would come to the party.
I think it's it revolves around him finally not being embarrassed by his friends.
Yeah. Because this is early on when he's still embarrassed by the study group. So this is kind of him swallowing his pride and helping out the study group when they need him. Because Chevy Chase is constantly
he's popping pills with the episode.
He's trying to be cool, so he takes some drugs and swaps pills with Starburns.
Oh yeah, and Starburns takes his, because he has one of those pill organizers.
Yeah.
And Starburns oh, what you taking over there? And he's definitely not my heart medication and stuff. So he gives Starburns some of that stuff, and he's why can't I pee later?
It's what did you give me, man? I can't pee, and my heart's slowing down.
He's what did you give me?
I do remember Starburns.
Yeah, Chevy Chase starts hallucinating, and then he sees Annie dancing around in a skeleton outfit going, "Tell me about the 60s, Pierce. Tell me about Woodstock. Tell me about the Beatles, Pierce. Yeah, and then Abed is dressed as Batman and just taking it way too seriously.
What is Troy dressed as?
Troy is dressed as Michael Jackson. He doesn't have a lot to do with that episode, but they do have a great exchange where he comes up to him. And I think this was like, because this is like the 4th episode, I think, of season 1. So Abed and Troy dynamic wasn't really established at that point. And I think they kind of establish it in this episode, because he comes up to Abed and he's like, "Can I ask you something I've always wanted to ask the real Batman?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Am I cool?" He's like, "You're very or no, he's like, "Am I handsome?" He's like, "You're a very good looking man." Like, and they did like, I've seen the outtakes, and they did like multiple takes of that where he asked him different questions.
That's pretty great. Yeah, Community, man. That was a show that was like ahead of its time in a lot of ways, and tried a lot of very daring things. And obviously, there's some controversy with this creator and stuff like that. But I mean, it was a really fantastic show. So I mean, there's going to be a movie at some point, right? That's got to happen.
Yeah, right? Last I heard, they're moving it to Atlanta so that Donald Glover can be in it.
Oh, because he doesn't want to film it anywhere.
Chevy Chase is definitely not in it, though, right?
Chevy Chase is definitely not going to be in it, but nobody cares.
Yeah.
He told me that he didn't even think the show was funny.
Oh, yeah. He said that while he was on it, multiple times. They should have, I read when they replaced Chevy Chase eventually, I think that was like a thing going around, is that everybody said, "Oh, they should replace him with Bill Murray, because that would be the best like meta joke ever." Because Bill Murray replaced him on Saturday Night Live in the 70s.
Funny.
Yeah, and then in season 2, they upped the ante even more by having a zombie outbreak episode.
Yeah, that one was interesting. I forgot what. Oh yeah, they like end up eating this like the dean like puts MRIs. And,
yeah, he gets like army surplus.
Even do that?
The dean supplies food for the Halloween party with army surplus food, and what he thought was taco meat ended up being some kind of like bio waste, and then everybody ends up becoming zombies.
Hey Jeff, it's me, Rich, from pottery class. Doc Potterywood, remember?
Rich, bigger fish. Yeah. Guys, there's some kind of infection at the party that's making people act weird and bite each other. We need to coordinate an orderly evacuation without causing unnecessary panic.
Holy crap, Leonard's a zombie! Zombie attack!
And it's pretty impressive that within a 20-minute period of an episode, there's a zombie outbreak where one by one everybody gets bitten, and then by the end of the episode, kind of everything gets like turned around and goes back to normal. They find like a cure. For it. Yeah, but that's a great episode as well.
Yeah, I need to rewatch some Community. It has been a minute.
I got to rewatch the entire show with you, like
when we
first started dating, which was great.
Well, I had never seen it, so.
Mm-hmm. I was like, oh yeah, I'll rewatch that show for sure.
I mean, it was competing with The Office at the time, and so like I think it was like the time slot after it or before it, one of the two, and so it was kind of it was either the lead-in or like it was after. I don't remember, but
yeah, I'm hardcore team the Community. If we're picking sides,
I mean, I loved The Office, but like I can like not watch that show anymore. I've saw it way too many times to the point where it hurts me to watch it.
People usually compared that one and Parks and Rec more, I think.
Yeah.
The Office did have a great Halloween episode in its 2nd season, I think.
Oh yeah.
Is that what you're going to talk about?
No, I'm not. Oh. I'm not that basic.
What are you going to talk about?
Let's get to it. For those of you that like What We Do in the Shadows, there was a spin-off show. There's a spin-off of the movie called Wellington Paranormal. It's also in the same universe as the TV show, but this follows 2 police officers that are in the movie. They're very bumbling, and they're kind of tasked to be in this paranormal unit of the Wellington Police, and by their captain, who's also really funny. It's a New Zealand show. The accents are pretty thick, so if you've never seen it before, maybe watch with subtitles.
I don't know if there's like a stereotypical New Zealand type, but it feels like this. It feels like they're playing into like a stereotypical like nice New Zealander.
Yeah, I will say it's really impressive. The show went 4 seasons, and it's impressive how many different like paranormal entities and monsters they got on the show. Literally, like everything and things you haven't thought of are on the show. They did like a blob riff. They did like technology coming to life. They did zombies and vampires and werewolves and ghosts and variants and all that kind of stuff multiple times. Lots of just different things, you know. It was very impressive. They did episodes where like they would just run into multiple different things and so and exorcisms and demons and things like that. It was just all really funny, really underrated show that not most people know out here. And I hope they do a crossover at some point with the American show. At least I hope those characters pop up on What We Do in the Shadows as like a cameo. That would be fun.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I have to admit, I watched the first episode and then I was like, it's okay. And then I didn't watch it anymore and forgot about it.
Why I hadn't really watched that.
Yeah, forgot about it.
It's a good binge. Stick with it. Like they're really light and fluffy. Just put the subtitles on because you need to get used to their accents.
I'm pretty used to it, I think.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to examine some werewolves. All right.
Yeah.
And it's going to be kind of scary. So better beware.
That's pretty good because it's very dry humor as well. I mean, there's lots of over the top physical comedy, but there's a lot of kind of, it's basically British humor. So, there's not a dedicated Halloween episode per se, which is really surprising. There is a great Christmas episode, but there's an episode that takes place at a haunt called Fear Factory, not Fear Factor, Fear Factory. Ooh. And so this episode, they're like called on to a scene, and this woman is like, I just saw a man with no face. It was like a bare bum. He had no face. She's like, it's like my greatest fear. And then they run into another dude that like 10 seconds later who saw like, a giant like rat walking on 2 feet or whatever. And so they're like seeing all like people that are being faced with like their greatest fear. and like this one dude saw a shark and he was like, it was like Jaws. I hate that movie. And they're traced back to this place called Fear Factory because they were all coworkers that went to Fear Factory. And so they kind of interview a lot of the kind of scare actors and the owner of this place. And I don't want to spoil too much, but it turns out that the owner is, this is kind of revealed early on, so it's not that big of a spoiler, is a shapeshifter that feeds on people's fear. And so he will take the form of whatever your fear is.
I think what we're dealing with here is possibly superhuman metamorph who feeds on fear by turning into what scares you the most. And that's not all. I cross-referenced hospital files with his customer records, and it turns out that several of his patrons suffered heart failure from fatal amounts of adrenaline in their bodies. Literally scared to death.
It literally just scared me to death.
Do you know what the word literally means?
I actually don't. I've been peppering it into my conversations to make myself sound more elegant.
Minogue, don't ever misuse the word literally. Not on my watch.
Easy.
And so...
he's a bonkard.
Yeah. So... It's really just extremely entertaining. And there's one of the people on the police force, not one of the main characters, but one of like the supporting characters, is afraid of everything. And he's talking about his fears at one point, and like he's afraid of like doorways, he's afraid of buttons, he's afraid of denim, he's afraid of double denim. Just like everything, the stupidest things. And so it's so they go and try and find this guy, and he's like just scaring everybody that he comes in touch with. And he scares this one woman twice, and she's like, "Do you know the rapper Post Malone?" And he was like, it was like Post Malone on like a snake's body, but it was like his head, and he was just going. Yeah, just really, really just funny. And it goes back to the haunt. And so they're going through the haunt. And of course, the 2 leads of the show have like their own fears. And so it it just escalates from there. It's a really, really funny episode, perfect for this time of year. You could watch pretty much any episode of that show this time of year. It's all good for Halloween. But if you want one like really specifically, I would say check out Fear Factory. That's in the 3rd season. You can watch these episodes like in any order. If you want to get the setup, watch the first episode, and then from there you can basically watch any episode in any season.
Okay. Yeah. I will admit sometimes I have watched a Halloween episode from a show that I have not seen like very much of.
Yeah.
Like 30 Rock?
Yes.
You're like, this is actually a funny show, and then you start like watching the show.
Well, I'd seen 30 Rock, but like, yeah, I think there were a few shows, and that actually could segue into my next pick.
Why do I get those two shows' titles confused? Not 30 Rock.
Oh, you're talking about Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yes, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, this is my segue. My segue into my next pick, which was Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the cop show with Andy Samberg, which I think ran for like 8 seasons or something like that.
Maybe.
Time is weird because it feels like shows that I'm like, oh yeah, that's a new show, right? And it's like, no, it's been on for 8 years now. It's like, oh god.
Good morning, boy. It's Halloween. I'm surprised you didn't put on a costume.
I was going to, sir, but then I decided, screw that jazz. Well, I'm the only one who ever dresses up. No one ever gets my costume, and they make fun of me. So I'm done. These people don't deserve my dress-up gifts.
Charles, seriously? No costume?
What the hell, Charles? Where's your Halloween spirit?
But you guys always make fun of me.
I have never once insulted you in my life, especially vis-a-vis your appearance.
Yeah, man, we always love your costumes. Remember last year? When you came as that person and/or thing?
Yes, I do remember. Sir, permission to sprint to my car and get my emergency costume.
Does it matter if I say no?
No!
Ba-bam, bam, boom.
Why are you dressed up? You look like an idiot.
Yeah, what are you supposed to be? A sassy car mechanic?
No, come on. He's clearly the rejected Pop-Tarts mascot, Harry Pop-Tart.
I am not! You know who I am!
Squad, that's enough. You're making Boyle feel bad on purpose. He's Elvis.
Yes!
Elvis Stoico, the Canadian figure skater.
No!
What is that? A wrinkle on my hand? Oh god. Yeah, I was just like, I decided to like check out some of the Halloween episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I was like, damn, this is a funny show. I'm gonna go back and watch this whole show. And I went back and started watching like a few of the episodes from season 1. But Brooklyn Nine-Nine has a series of great Halloween episodes. Mm-hmm. And what I like about them, and what I like about some shows that do this, is they pick like a sort of like running gag or running conceit to follow through with each Halloween episode. So in season 1, Andy Samberg, I believe his name is Jake.
Yes,
I think so.
Yeah. So Andy Samberg, cop named Jake, he decides he's gonna like pull a prank on his captain, who's like very stoic, and steal his badge. So he like kind of becomes this like Ocean's 11 Mission Impossible like mission to steal his badge. And you're probably thinking, this doesn't sound very Halloween-y. Yeah, it's not. Like Halloween is kind of like the set dressing.
Everyone's just kind of like dressed up, and the office has like a
There's a running gag where one of the guys wants to always dress up for Halloween, and nobody else ever does. So they follow through in other seasons. Halloween is kind of like more of the window dressing of the episode, but they still stand out because of the sort of returning plot line that they follow through with each season. So that was season 1. And in season 2, they decide they're gonna do this competition again, but he's gonna try to steal his watch from like off of his wrist.
Oh yeah.
And then it ends up being sort of like a double like switcheroo where the captain ends up outsmarting him because he's like, you pissed me off so much last year that I started planning this the day after last year.
Yeah,
I started planning this I've been planning this for a year.
It was like he thought that they were in on it with him, but really they were on like the boss's side. So it was like the guy that he hired to pickpocket his watch was really also hired by the boss to like switch it around, and then he had like his car towed.
All these like things that were set up that were kind of like,
ridiculous.
Yeah, it ended up becoming like part of this elaborate Ocean's 11 type scheme. And then in the next season, they do like sort of a competitive thing where they're both going after one item. And I haven't gotten to season 4 yet, but season 4, apparently everybody in the station is like involved in trying to steal something. So I just like that they like continue back to like a similar thread and like ante up the stakes with each season. So I think that's
really
fun.
like Ocean's 11 in general. So.
I do like Ocean's. I do like Ocean's 11.
Like it so
Anytime
much.
there's a con or a plan, someone's got a plan to do something, and then at the end they like rewind to show you what really happened. I love that shit. Love it.
Yeah, I watched the first season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Did I watch any of the second? I think some of it, maybe.
I can't tell you that.
I wrote like... I worked on a spec, like I guess part of a spec for an episode in college with a friend of mine for a class, and we got an A on it. It was
cool.
pretty easy to write in that voice of like Andy Samberg's character or Jake Peralta. But yeah, it's a great show. And yeah, I'm sure those Halloween episodes are fantastic. It sounds like a lot of fun. Definitely need to look into that. Highly recommend, by the way, just a plug, look up Halloween episodes, Wikipedia. If you just like want to find a Halloween episode or special, I know Wiki is an easy, stupid thing to plug, but I was impressed with like how thorough like of a list they had with Halloween episodes. So definitely
I've done that
check that out. Melody, did you have like a pick of your own, or are you just?
Well, I didn't really know like what we were talking about. Chris kind of made it sort of vague, so like I've just been kind of like in my own world. Like when I would come home from work and I'd never watched Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of like recent stuff. Whoops.
Was this the old Sabrina or like the new Sabrina?
It was like Netflix? From the 90s.
Okay, the Melissa Joan Hart.
We're talking the sitcom.
Well, because we were going through, I guess we were doing our own little thing. We were watching like 90s nostalgic stuff too, because we were also watching Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we can get into
I was
Are You
kind of
Afraid
stuck
of the Dark?
in that, not really modern stuff. But we did start a new show together. It's not really Halloween, but the Fall of the Usher House.
Yeah, we have been watching the Fall of the House of Usher.
Yeah,
I watched the first episode. It was really good. How was
it
the
gets
rest?
crazy.
Yeah, I could tell. It's a really good setup.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I guess I'll get back to my pick then.
Sorry, I don't have much to contribute.
No,
okay.
you're doing great, Melody.
Okay. I'm a fly on the wall.
One of my favorite Halloween episodes, live action Halloween episodes of a TV show, is the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia show, which is one of my all time favorite. I guess is it a sitcom? I guess.
Yeah,
it's a situational comedy. So
yeah, situational comedy. Yeah, I guess when I think sitcom, sometimes I always just think like the audience, like in front of a TV audience kind of thing, but it's not.
Not anymore.
Yeah, but so there's the Who Got Dee Pregnant episode. I do not remember what season this is in. I think it's like 4th, 5th.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
gotta be pretty early.
It's like
I know
it's
I've seen
earlier
it,
on.
but I've only seen like the first like 4 seasons of It's Always Sunny. I think.
This episode is hysterical. So if you've never seen the show, I know it's one of those shows that can be polarizing for some people because the characters are so like awful that they like just can't
so
stand
extreme
them.
though.
It's
like
so funny.
I don't see how anyone can take it seriously because it's so extreme.
I think the first time I ever watched it, I was like taken aback, but then like I went back to it and I was like, actually, yeah, this is really funny.
Because you kind of you need to get a feel for their characters and like start from the early episodes and kind of find out who they are.
Shout a lot too.
They do.
You don't want to.
Which is really funny, but if you like, is it your first introduction to them, I can see how it can be kind of grating. So, this episode, a lot of these episodes start off with them chatting in a bar and scheming something one way or another, and Dee is maybe trying to chime in about something, and they tell her to shut up and that she looks like a bird, and that's just like a running gag on the show. And she's kind of an awful character too, like a great character, but they're all like awful people. But so they're not paying attention to her, and she tells them that she's pregnant, and they're like basically ignoring her. They could care less. And And she's like, well, it's one of you, so you guys should care. And she like walks out of the bar and she's like, yeah, it was at the Halloween party. So one of you guys got me pregnant. And, she's like, suck on that. And she walks out of the bar. And so like the whole episode, they're like, oh shit. And so they're recounting their...
And one of them is her brother, so that's messed up.
One of them's her brother and one of them's Danny DeVito, who's her stepfather. So they're recounting this this party they had at the bar, this Halloween party. And so they each go through their own recollection of the party, and they're all askewed. And like the costumes change in different ways, and Charlie is dressed like the Phantom, but he thinks he's a freaking vampire, and he's like, "I want to suck your blood," and they're like, "Well, you're the Phantom. He doesn't do that." Because Charlie is, it's Charlie Day's character is just very. He's not really book smart. He's not really street smart either. He's endearing though. He's the most endearing character on the show, but he does some awful things as well. So it's just like one thing from another. They're tracing their steps back. You have Glenn, who's dressed like Luigi, and Mac was supposed to dress up like Mario, but he decides to dress up like Viggo Mortensen from Lord of the Rings, and he doesn't know the character's name, so he's just like, "Yeah, I'm Viggo Mortensen." And it's like, that's not the character. Because he's like, "Chicks dig this," and Glenn's like, "I just look like some Italian asshole. What do you like?" And it's just one thing after another. They it's hard to recap because there's so many moving parts. But like, Frank is there and he's dressed like Spider-Man, but in reality, he's not dressed like Spider-Man. That's not what they recount. He's dressed as Man Spider, and so a very different costume. And it's just kind of, there's all these different kind of moving parts just to figure out who got deep pregnant and how that happened. And there's like a girl that Charlie has a huge crush on that comes to the bar, and he tries to like impress her, and she has like a date, and he gets like in a fight with the date, and he asks Matt to give him backup, and like Mac just is a mumbling idiot and like runs into Charlie, and they hit D, and like milk is spilled on D, and it's just like you see this play over and over again throughout the episode and different vantage points.
Yes, there were passionate sounds of lovemaking coming from the bathroom, but it wasn't me and D. Damn it. I was hoping I wouldn't have to admit this, but I guess I have to tell you. Okay, here goes. I was in the back of the bar when the commotion began, and I heard Charlie cry out for help. He was about to get his ass kicked by that giant dude.
Mac, help me, please, I need you!
There was no time for an ocular pat-down.
Not in my bar, bro.
I secured the area, and I retained order, like I always do. Everybody chill! It's cool now.
So it's a really, really funny episode. It's kind of hard to recap and explain, but I just there's so many.
Well, don't spoil the ending because I might want.
I'm pretty sure I remember what it was.
I think I want to rewatch this now.
Oh man, I was gonna say spoilers and then like say.
I don't remember the ending, so don't spoil it.
I will not spoil it, but it's a really, really underrated Halloween episode. It's Who Got Dee Pregnant. So look up that. It's not a Halloween title, but it is a very much a Halloween episode. Lots of fun Halloween decorations and stuff throughout. So
yeah.
Definitely.
You reminded me of like one of my favorite jokes that I forgot to mention in the second season of Community, the zombie episode, because it starts off with Abed and Troy. They have like a sort of like couple outfit where Abed is the alien from Alien, and Troy is in the like Mac, the Mac suit that Sigourney Weaver wears at the end of Aliens to kill him. So they're. And then he realizes that he's like a nerd, that Troy looks like a nerd. And because he like tries to talk to some girls and they're like, no, thank you. And so he takes the costume off, takes his shirt off, goes into the bathroom. You don't see him do this, but when he comes out, he's wearing one of those like toilet paper covers around his neck that just has the word Dracula written on it. And he's like, "Wait, what's your costume?" And he's like, "This is my costume. I'm a sexy Dracula." He's like, "You mean sexy vampire?" And he's like, "I don't need to know which Dracula I am to be a sexy Dracula."
That's pretty good. Do you guys have Halloween costumes picked out this year yet?
We do.
What are you doing?
We're being Beetlejuice and Winona.
No, say Lydia's the character name,
Yeah,
but our
Lydia,
dog's name is Lydia.
So did you guys, no judgment, did you guys go the store-bought route, or are you kind of like doing your own thing? Or are you mixing and matching?
We're doing the store-bought route.
Which I kind of want to do like the homemade route next time, because
Yeah.
the store-bought stuff, we got it off Amazon, and I'm like, this fits kind of weird.
It always fits weird. Store-bought
Like,
stuff
this
always gonna
doesn't
fit
look
weird.
how the picture was.
It's better quality than I think it than I probably thought it was going to be, but it's
Yeah.
still like not as good as like. I mean, you can get a really nice Beetlejuice costume on Etsy for like $200.
Yeah, that's.
So I don't have a party to go to as of at the moment this year. I do have a costume in mind. My first costume idea was going to be Dread Pirate Roberts from Princess Bride, because I've never done that, and I was like, that'd be kind of fun.
That's a good one.
And so I
Really
bought
easy,
a
too.
yeah. Well, I bought a costume on Amazon. Fucking awful.
Oh
It's just, like,
man!
the cheapest material. So I returned it, and it's just like easy, but like finding that top. It's a very specific kind of top with like a tie, and
Yeah, I bet you could get away with just like a black shirt.
yeah,
Unbuttoned a little bit.
Etsy has some stuff. I would like to do that at some point, but my new idea, which I like a lot, but I don't know if I'll get to do this year. But I wanted to do like a twist on Linus from It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I wanted to do kind of like a zombified twist, and instead of having like a welcome Great Pumpkin sign, I wanted to have Beware Great Pumpkin, and was gonna like splatter it with like pumpkin guts and stuff like that.
Oh my
God.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah, so that was my idea, which I was kind of proud of. So
Are you gonna
at
have
some
to
point
carry
I will
around
do
a
that.
blanket all night long?
Yeah, I'm gonna like if I do that, I'm gonna like kind of burn it or char it or something, because it's supposed to be like he was attacked by the Great Pumpkin. You know, that's kind of the
Oh,
guy.
there you go.
Kind of like that Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode.
No,
Which
there you go.
Well, that's one we've been watching.
Oh man, I tried to. I was like, oh, you know what? I haven't seen a lot of the more recent Treehouse of Horrors. I rewatched like the early ones a lot. I haven't seen some of the more recent ones, so I'm gonna watch some of the more recent ones. Yeah, not so great.
I haven't seen the last couple ones. Did you want to share your next pick, Chris?
Sure.
You're next, right? Yeah.
Yeah. This will be my final one. Okay, so one I definitely remembered, and I went back and watched. Wasn't as good as I remembered it, but I still enjoyed it. It was from the second season of Parks and Rec, which we mentioned earlier. So this is the Pikitis episode. So it's Halloween, and Leslie Knope has this like apparent like 13-year-old nemesis named Greg Pikitis, who every year plays a prank and like TPs a statue and defames part of the park. So she's like, this year I'm gonna catch the kid, and she ends up like staking him out and following him, which is already kind of weird. And then when she comes back to the parks department, the entire parks department has been like TP'd and egged and destroyed and vandalized. And so this episode is her like trying to interrogate this kid to figure out how he did it. It's just really funny to watch like Leslie Knope versus like a 13-year-old punk kid. Mm-hmm. Who's like her nemesis, who she sees as her nemesis.
I'm here. Statue's fine. Crappy Halloweeners. That's hilarious. Where's the kid?
In the conference room, trying to hide his obvious guilt.
Leslie, I don't know what to tell you. I don't think he did it.
Yeah, he did. And we need a confession. Okay. Andy and I are going to take a walk. And it's going to be just you, Pikitis, and these pliers.
Look, I'm not going to torture this kid.
Nobody said torture.
Why don't you let me take a run at him, boss? In order to think like one of these guys, you have to think like them.
Yeah, I forgot Louis C.K. was in this episode, which was weird to see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He who shall not be named.
I don't have a lot to say about this episode other than I like Parks and Rec, and I thought it was fun because it reminded me of just like that aspect of pranking in Halloween that doesn't really happen when you get older, I think, as much. I mean, I didn't really do it a lot as a kid. My sister got arrested one time for TPing someone's house.
I always wanted to do it, but none of my friends wanted to do it.
I know.
I TP'd I did a couple TPs with some friends.
You criminal, you.
And lived to tell the tale.
But yeah, this is the episode where Chris Pratt is like interrogating this kid, and then we don't know what the kid says, but they come back and Chris Pratt is crying. He's like, "Are you crying?" And he's like, "I'm not crying. I'm allergic to jerks."
It's very real. That age has a special meanness about them.
Aww. Poor Chris Pratt. Okay, so yeah, Parks and Rec, great show. I do remember that episode. I need to rewatch it. Was that the only Halloween episode they did?
No, they did another one, which is actually probably more Halloween-y. It's where April and Andy throw a Halloween party. Mostly I remember like the beginning where they're discussing their party. And Chris Pratt is like, we're going to have candy and games. And April's like, blood, zombies, death, people will die. He's like, fun.
Yeah, and then like Ron Swanson comes by and like he just looks so funny because he's not even like wearing anything.
Oh yeah, a fun recurring thing with the Parks and Rec Halloween episodes is that Ron wears the same costume every year.
He just goes to himself.
He's basically like a lazy pirate.
Oh yeah, you're right. But then he like decides to go around the place and like starts fixing.
Yeah,
does like handiwork around the house because he doesn't know what to do with himself.
Right.
So, my next pick. So I got a couple animated ones, recent animated kind of Halloween specials that I liked. And so you're talking about The Simpsons, and Treehouse of Horror is obviously what they're known for. But like, I guess this was longer ago than I thought it was. Like 6 or 7 years ago, they did a regular Halloween episode like that actually exists in the universe, like as canon as far as like the series goes. That wasn't a Treehouse of Horror episode because those are just their own thing, and nothing that happens to those actually is in like Simpsons, canon. But I mean, as far as like the story of the Simpsons, but they did this one and it's called Halloween of Horrors. It was a kind of a big deal when it came out because they'd never done that before. Like the Christmas specials are obviously all like exist, and have further the Simpsons story, but the Treehouse of Horror is their own thing. But this was a really kind of sweet Halloween episode, really about Homer and Lisa particularly. But they're like putting out their Halloween decorations. I think it's like Evergreen of Horrors or something like that. Evergreen Ever Terrace. I don't remember the name. Anyway, so that's the name of the display. So they're putting out their display, and Flanders, like, there's even like a funny in-joke. Flanders is like, "Oh, you're gonna like, build a, you're gonna go up in the treehouse and like tell some scary stories." And he's like, "Oh yeah, that happens next week. We got there's gonna be a little exorcism tale, and we're gonna do like a Jaws spoof, and then something about couches coming to life or whatever." And he's like, Flanders like, "Oh, sounds fun." He's like, "Yeah, the people like it." But like, so the episode is Lisa is going to Halloween, like a Halloween Horror Nights event. It's called Halloween Horror Night, like in Krusty Land for the first time. She's really excited. And she gets to the park and it ends up really scaring her. And like, she's with Homer and Bart and she gets like terrified. Like the zombies are all coming at her. She's just like, she can't handle it. They have to like shut the park down and go, "Oh, there's a crybaby. And they like to shut the whole park down. And the scare actors like go on break and like, they have to come and get her. And it's sad, and she kind of gets kind of catatonic about it, and like she can't even see like all, like the Halloween decorations that are at the house, so they have to like take it down.
Hand stamp required for re-entry.
That's not scary. I thought this was gonna be scary. Scary! That's really anatomical. Lot of anatomy there.
Oh yeah, the gore is super realistic. It's gotta be. Today's consumer is just too sophisticated.
I want to go home.
What? No, we just got here.
And earlier in the episode, kind of the inciting incident outside of that is Homer goes to a Halloween store, which is run by Apu. I know Apu is no longer on The Simpsons, but he's running like a, spirit kind of Halloween, and he has a few like seasonal employees that are there that are kind of slackers, and they cut Homer a deal on some mariachi skeletons, and they say, "You buy one, we'll throw in the other. You pay it to me in cash, we'll throw in the other for free." And so he's like, "Ooh, that is a good deal." And he goes to tell Apu because they like tell him not to tell the boss man, but he doesn't realize that's Apu because he's an idiot. And so Apu fires them, and so they swear revenge on Homer. And so Halloween night comes, and Marge tries to take Bart out to like a really good neighborhood for trick-or-treating. where there's an ET that will say your name, and Bart's like, if I say a curse, will he say it? And Marge is like, he has no choice, he has to. And Bart's like, okay, I'm in. And so that's happening. And but these 3 hooligans that were fired come to terrorize Homer and Lisa, who's at home and still recovering from everything. And so it's pretty creepy, some of the scenes they have. And it's a really kind of sweet story about them bonding because they're both scared and they both have to fend off from these kind of strangers setup. And meanwhile, Bart and Marge are trying to, they can't get access to this neighborhood because it's for locals only now. And Marge tries to take Bart trick-or-treating, but it gets too late. And then it turns into adult Halloween, and there's a Rocky Horror Picture Show about adult Halloween happening at 9 p.m. or something. And it's fun. The adults come out and do their thing. But it's a really fun, sweet episode. I highly recommend that. I think it's in, God, was it season 27 or something like that?
I was going to say, was it farther away? Cause they're on season, I always remember the seasons for The Simpsons. I feel because they started the year I was born. So me and The Simpsons are the same age.
This came out
on season 34 now.
It came out in 2015. So whatever season that was, that's when it came out. So 2015. Okay. But yeah, Halloween of Horrors. So if you're not as happy with some of the recent Treehouse of Horror episodes, check that out. It's a really sweet, fun Halloween
And
special.
if you see at the beginning of the Simpsons episode, someone named Swartzwelder, that's someone related to Melody.
Yeah, that's right.
Ooh.
Somebody is, if their last name is Swartzwelder, they're related to me. So I think his name is John Swartzwelder.
Something like that,
Something like that.
I'm going to assume anyone with that last name is related to you, Melody, because I have not heard that last name before outside of you.
I was listening to Conan O'Brien talk about The Simpsons in an interview or something like that.
Yeah.
And he said oh yeah, that was Swartzwelder. He came up with that. And I was like, Conan O'Brien just said your name.
Is he a cousin or a...
My dad just told me the family history was 5 brothers came over from I guess Germany.
On the Mayflower?
So probably
on the Mayflower.
So probably
I don't know
a distant uncle.
Yeah, so it's I guess they just
the Swartzwelder sailed the ocean blue in 1992.
Oh man.
So yeah, Halloween of Horror Simpsons. I have one more that I'm sure you guys have seen. It's the Mickey Mouse Halloween Spooktacular, the new Mickey Mouse series. It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
This is a really great Halloween special.
Wait, is that the one where Mickey is trying to tell the scariest story?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yes. I have seen that one. I watched it last year.
I just watched it this morning. Fantastic episode. And I'm honestly surprised that Disney let the animators get away with some of the things they did in this episode.
That whole show, man, is like that. Every time I watch a cartoon, one of those cartoons, I'm like, I can't believe Disney is just cool with this. They're just yeah, sure, take our mascot and just make him into an insane Cartoon Network from the 90s type character, essentially.
Yeah, so the setup is Mickey and Donald and Goofy are taking Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and I guess Mickey's kids. Does he have kids? Are they his nephews? I don't know.
None of these characters have kids. It's always their nephews.
So yeah, they look like Mickey though. So they take him out trick-or-treating and they bring him back, and Mickey wants to tell him a really scary story. And so he starts into his first story, and it's like a riff on Frankenstein. And it's like a Frankenstein's monster, but it has Mickey's head. And at one point, Mickey starts breaking out in a musical number in this story, and then Mickey takes his head off, and you see his brain and juice dripping out. And I'm like, did they just let Mickey Mouse cut his head open and show his brain? And I was stunned that Disney allowed something like that. It's awesome, but I was like, wow, I wouldn't have expected to see Mickey Mouse's brain ever. Pretty wild, but that does not impress Huey, Dewey, and Louie. The second story is a Dracula thing, and Donald and Goofy try and get in on it because Mickey couldn't scare the kids the first time. And it just escalates from there, and it's just a lot of fun. And it's fun to see Mickey getting this worked up, and he needs anger management. And
There was but one problem. Betwixt the men and the estate was an endless winding maze made entirely of bones, victims of the vampire. Many a man had gone insane, their minds lost in the No sooner had they reached the castle when they made another terrifying discovery. The entrance was guarded by vicious, bloodthirsty hounds! Werewolves!
Wait! Howdy, boys! Look what I got! How about you wash that down with a couple of cool ones? See? Told you they were the right kind of steaks.
That's what's so. Maybe that's what lets it slide is that he's such a different character than we've ever really known Mickey before. He's so like vain and just flies off the handle and is so insecure, and it's great. Maybe that was a nod to maybe him taking out his brain was a nod to Runaway Brain. Are you familiar with Runaway Brain, Zach?
No. What is Runaway
So Runaway Brain was a short from 1995, and it played before. I want to say it played before like George of the Jungle and maybe a couple of other movies. It was directed by like one of their leading animators, Andreas Deja, and gets his like brain swapped with like a giant like Frankenstein version of Mickey who ends up like running amok and everything. It's so great, and it was pulled from theaters because of how because kids found it too scary.
Oh man, yeah.
And people were like, "We don't like seeing Mickey like this. This is too scary. This is too much."
Yeah, they might be afraid. I mean, the last short Mickey tells is pretty scary because like it's like about a witch killing kids and eating making them into pies.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's like he's trying to find the scariest story.
Yeah, he finds it. But fantastic special. If you have kids, maybe watch it first just in case. But it's great. It's great. So
yeah, the Christmas episode is also really great. Where Donald is trying to experience Christmas.
Yeah, I need to watch more of that new Mickey. I know it ended now, but I need to go and watch them because they're really good.
Look up Runaway Brain because I think you can find it online in backdoor places.
Yeah,
but Disney has never officially released it. They've never put it on Disney Plus or released a DVD of it or anything. But it's great.
Sweet. Well, that's all I got as far as new Halloween episodes that I wanted to talk about. But you were telling me you guys watched Are You Afraid of the Dark recently, and you've been. I just want to know what are your takeaways from your rewatch?
I don't know why I've always loved the show. I mean, it's been a big inspiration for me in several things.
Inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a script in grad school that was basically about two characters in a video store. And a tape comes to life, or a TV comes to life from this evil tape that they put in the TV.
I have read this short. It's great.
Yeah, and it's very meant to be an Are You Afraid of the Dark type of scenario. So I used to love this show. I've seen it more than I realized because rewatching. We're in season 3 now. We've been rewatching the first 2.5 seasons. And I'm realizing that I've seen more episodes than I originally thought I had. Because I'm every other one, I'm oh yeah, I remember this one. I definitely saw this one. But they're fun. They're campy. If you just like 90s TV, I'd highly recommend it. Sorry, our dog is chewing on some cardboard.
Yeah. I mean, any favorite episodes that stand out to you? The ones you've rewatched that you're...
Yeah, I definitely had some in my memory that I was oh, this one's really scary. And we've rewatched some of those and been yeah, there's a couple of things that are kind of oh, that's kind of messed up. And then a couple that I was oh, I don't remember that. That's messed up. One that I was strongly remembered was, and I don't remember any of the specific titles, but so forgive me, but essentially the one where there's a ghost in a swimming pool.
Oh, that one is scary.
Oh.
Dead Man's Float. That one I know.
Great, Zach. Yeah. You're gonna know them all.
I know
Dead
a lot
Man's
of them.
Float.
That is
right.
That is the scariest one, or one of them for sure.
Right, simply because it's this creature with
That's the best creature they've.
It looks like it looks like he's been vomited on or something, Because he's not like the typical like green ghoul. He's like orange,
red and orange. Yeah.
Or like bloody orange. It's very very weird. I really liked The Tale of the Lonely Ghost. You did not.
Which one was the one with the kids?
I'm cold.
No, that one was lame.
Isn't that Melissa Joan Hart in that one?
Well, that's the one with Melissa Joan Hart. Yeah. Anytime there's like a ghost, I'm in. You know, I like ghost stuff. So whenever there was a ghost episode, I was like, "Oh hell yeah, there's a ghost in this one."
But like you said, there was one we just watched that you didn't like.
No, I did like that one.
No, we watched one that was like.
Oh yeah, the bicycle.
The bicycle one, yeah.
Yeah, the tale of the red bicycle or something like that.
Yeah.
This kid is this teenager is haunted by like one of his friends died when he was younger, and the ghost doesn't do anything in that one. He's just there.
Well, he's there to like.
And at the end, he's like, "Hey, Mike, just wanted to warn you."
Wait, what does the ghost do in The Lonely Ghost? All he does is say, "I'm cold." That's all he does.
All he does.
He does even less.
Well, he's trying to. No, he leads them to the treasure.
To find his
Yeah,
jacket.
okay.
That's
The
what it
kid in
was.
the shiny bicycle does the same thing. He warns him to save his brother. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but
he
there's
was
treasure involved in this one. Plus, it's a little boy ghost. He's creepier.
Well, he's saving someone's life in the new.
That episode also has like a Evil Dead cam. Like clearly, there's like a shot where like the camera is like flying through the forest and then goes up into the window. It's like clearly they stole that from Evil Dead. And I was like, wow, I probably saw this. I definitely saw this before I saw Evil Dead. So that's kind of weird.
I would say, as far as like scary episodes, the first clown one, like Laughing in the Dark, that one's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
Clowns is creepy.
There's multiple clown episodes.
I wouldn't say it's scary, but the Ghastly Grinner, probably the best like creation on that show.
I definitely remember that one. Strongly remember that one.
There's a good vampire one that takes place in a hospital in a later season.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to that one yet.
I will say if you're watching it on Paramount, they're missing some episodes even from like the original block, and they don't have like the later 3 seasons, which are
and
some
they're
good
all
episodes in
jumbled
them.
up. I don't understand why
Yeah.
they're doing this. Yeah, there was one in particular that I was looking forward to, and then I realized it wasn't on Disney Plus, so I had to buy it for like $1.
Which one?
And that was the Tale of the Midnight Ride.
I just rewatched that one.
Oh yeah, I love Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow is like one of my favorite Halloween stories. So that was a fun episode.
The main guy on that is so doofy.
They want him to be like an
I've noticed like
guy.
so rewatching all of these episodes, I've noticed that there are like patterns that show up, and one is like the doofy main character, like the sort of like nerdy kid, but he's not really like book smart. He's just kind of doofy, and these kids always wear ties. And always have vests
or button ups or like
their hair is always
90s fashion was all over the place, man.
No, he was not the first kid though that wore like a tie and a vest and was kind of doofy.
And every narration is like, Mark, whatever, wasn't feeling so hot.
Oh yeah. Janine was moving to a new school and she didn't have a lot of friends.
She was going to visit her friend over the summer and she was really looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, that's another thing with Goosebumps too, is that it's always about a kid going somewhere new, like going somewhere for the summer to visit like relatives or moving to a new town. No, my favorite episode that I had forgotten completely about though was an episode featuring a young Ryan Gosling.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I have to watch that one again. I didn't even
Yes, you do. It's great. So it's about this kid who's like very goth. He's very morbid and kind of like obsessed with death. And then he starts hearing on this radio station this weird sort of like James Mason-esque voice, like calling out to someone, telling them if they're lost to come to this place or whatever. So he goes and visits this place, and who does he see but Gilbert Gottfried behind this counter. And he gets mistaken for someone who's just died. And
right, yeah.
It's basically like the Beetlejuice waiting room for the afterlife, essentially.
This, yeah.
But it's probably more funny than it is scary, definitely, because Gilbert Gottfried is just hilarious in it, and he does a great James Mason impression.
Yeah. Another creepy one, Tale of the Quiet Librarian. Really kind of, I feel like underrated episode. It's basically there's a ghost librarian. and who you don't see right away, but like you just see these kids start to scream, and then all of a sudden, like the audio cuts out, and you don't hear them. And,
I do remember that.
It's a really good idea. I'd love to see like a more like harder take on it, but for like an Are You Afraid of the Dark episode, it's tops. It's good stuff. And then I love the movie episode. Obviously, it takes place at the movie theater that has a Nosferatu character.
That was really cool.
That one probably, as I was rewatching that one and being like, yep, this definitely like inspired my screenplay more than I realized. Because in the original version of my screenplay, I had like a Dr. Vink character who like showed up and like gave them the
with
tape.
a Anything with Sardo is great. I love Sardo.
We haven't even seen a Sardo one yet. Like, I think there was like a Sardo one that wasn't on Paramount Plus.
Have you seen the two-parter that has Sardo and Vink, Tale of Cutter's Treasure?
Nope, not yet.
It's cute. It's a cute
I remember that
little,
one when it came out.
What are the other creepy ones? Go ahead.
I was going to say some of the worst ones we saw. There's a Leprechaun episode.
I like that one.
Did we watch that one?
Okay.
I've always liked that one. I don't know why. For whatever, I like the actors in it. I think the acting is good.
The guy who plays like the main.
He's in
guy
Willow,
is
so maybe
good.
that's why I like it, because that guy's in Willow. He's Willow's friend.
There's an episode featuring Bobcat Goldthwait as the Sandman.
Oh, that episode is that kind of.
I love Bobcat Goldthwait, and I hated this episode.
Yeah, that episode I have some issues with.
It's just like nothing happens. It is just like they basically were just like, I don't know, Bobcat Goldthwait we'll just let him improv most of the episode, and that's what it feels like.
Yeah, it's not their strongest one, and it's weird because I'm pretty sure he was like our age when he did that, and he looks like 15 years older than we do.
Yeah.
He looks like he's pushing 50 and he was like in his 30s.
I usually never see him with like no facial hair, and it was weird. He looked very strange.
There's one called Tale of the Dark Music, which is a pretty creepy episode because there's just like this room in the basement that like if you start playing music, like a door opens.
Oh yeah.
And weird stuff appears in there. And there's a bully in that episode that's just like the biggest bitch. But he's picking on like the main dude in this episode. He's just like, this kid has never played a bully in his life, and but you still want to see him get his comeuppance, and it's pretty great. So.
Did you like the one where it was the Tale of the Captured Souls, which was like the house with all of the mirrors?
That's a good one.
The parents started to become old.
Oh my gosh, that one was weird.
And then the kid, there's a strange kid, and he is like he's very like flamboyant.
Yeah.
This actor that they got is very flamboyant and very like dramatic, and he's dressed like a kid from the 1920s, and eventually you find out why. But it's a very funny episode just for the campiness of it. And then when the parents start to become old, they're like really like, I'm old.
They're like
really
this is
cheesing
okay
it up.
though. Like they act like they don't even realize what's happening to them.
Yeah.
There's another good haunted house episode where it's like two kids and their babysitter, and they like are lost, and they stumble upon like this kind of bar or something.
We watched that one.
It's pretty
with
good.
The babysitter, the bar.
Oh, yeah. I was
that's a good ghost.
Attention to that during that one.
That's a ghost episode, Chris.
That was one that I was like, get out of the house. Like, I was like on the edge of my seat a little bit.
I don't know. It was kind of confusing. It gave me like a Twin Peaks vibe at the very beginning because I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Good stuff. It holds up to your memories, I would say, but it's it doesn't surpass them.
It's scarier. It's scarier than Goosebumps. Maybe not as like funny or campy or out there with the plot, because the plot's usually like you can figure out usually like 1/3 into the episode what's going on.
I feel like they're about the same.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess because I watched Are You Afraid of the Dark more as a kid, there's like certain things in it that I'm like, ooh, that's actually pretty creepy. It's actually like fairly seriously could potentially scare some kids. But when I was a kid, I read the Goosebumps books, and then I would watch the show and be like, well, this sucks. This isn't like what I imagined.
You don't like the intro with the dog with the glowing eyes?
It's okay.
It's
not nearly as scary. It's not nearly as scary as the Are You Afraid of the Dark intro. The Are You Afraid of the Dark intro is creepy as hell.
Yeah. Well, they kill it with the campfire thing where the kids are like, you gotta tell, like, it's
Oh, yeah.
girl sitting around the campfire.
And the what I love about the campfire openings at the beginning is how a kid always says something along the lines of, but sometimes your imagination can run away with you. And then they cut to other kids, like, looking at each other all suspicious, like, what?
Yeah,
and then there's like a wolf howl in the background.
There's a new Goosebumps like series out now with Justin Long, which I haven't seen. I hear it's
wanna
okay.
check that out.
The recent, there was like an Are You Afraid of the Dark miniseries that came out a few years ago. There was 2 of them. I didn't see the second one, but the first one was decent. Wasn't bad. It's not like them telling story. It's like the episode. It's like how the original show ended, where it's like an actual supernatural thing is happening to like the Midnight Society itself.
Right.
And so the revivals have been like something supernatural happening to the Midnight Society, not them telling stories, which is interesting. But it's pretty good. Obviously aimed, at the kind of middle school crowd, but not bad. All right, before we wrap things up, I need to know, guys, what Halloween candy are you giving out?
What are we giving out?
I mean, I haven't bought any yet, but I will definitely buy some Butterfingers at some point. That's my go-to Halloween candy.
Well, you bought some of those, like, those suckers in there. Is that for us or for trick-or-treaters?
I kind of got those just for trick-or-treaters, but you're going through them fairly quickly.
I mean, you just said them. I only had, like, 3. Like those little, like...
We'll see if they last
the caramel with the apple suckers.
Yeah.
Where it's like...
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have some. Those definitely, like, make me think of Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm fond of the Witch's Brew Kit Kats. Have you guys had those?
Yeah, I mean, they're fine. They taste like Kit Kats. They're green. That's cool.
Marshmallow
I don't
flavored.
like how things are weird colors.
Marshmallow flavored. Okay.
Oh my gosh. How do you eat a lot of things? What colors do you not? Weird flavors or colors?
I mean, if it's chocolate, it should be the color of chocolate.
You don't like white chocolate then?
Oh, no, he was talking about Kit Kat. Sorry, I got confused. It's marshmallow?
No, it's like a marshmallow flavored Kit Kat.
I'm the freak who bought the green and purple ketchup way back in the 90s or 2000s.
What is the, so you guys are having a party on Saturday. What's the rest of your like October look like? Do you have any fun things planned?
Man, now that we live in a house for the first time in forever, I'm looking forward to like handing out some candy to some trick-or-treaters.
Oh, yeah, you want to play a movie in the front yard?
Yeah, I got a projector. I'm going to project like something.
Are you going to be one of those?
Onto
Nice.
the garage.
That's fun.
I don't think our neighborhood's going to be like particularly poppin' or anything, but
maybe our next door neighbors will.
Surely we'll have somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how it is. I mean, I'm in an apartment, so no one's coming here, but I don't know. We'll see what happens at my parents' house. It's been slow lately, but there's a lot more kids in the neighborhood again now, so I think the cycle is repeating.
Nice.
There was like a house that was near Magnolia Street in Burbank that always had like a haunted house in their front yard. Is that still a thing?
There's Rotten Apple 907, which is in Burbank. There's a lot of, honestly, we're spoiled in Burbank to look like SoCal in general. There's a ton of great Halloween displays out here. I like to make a night out of it, so
yeah,
hoping to do that soon. But Kris, where can they find you? Melody, where can they find you guys on the social media? Do you want them to find you on social media?
Yeah, you can follow me on YouTube. Kris Watches Movies. I make videos there.
And you guys also have a podcast there, right? Can you hear the pod tonight? Sorry, Melody.
Sometimes.
We haven't done that in a long time, but yeah, we probably should.
Yeah, you guys are great.
You can find me at Instagram, paint_stained_pistol. It's a mixture of Kris and I's life and then some of my art. So
yeah, follow Melody. You're doing Inktober, right? She's doing some awesome drawings.
I was, but we went camping this weekend, and I just I've kind of lost my drive to do it. But
that's okay. You did a lot already. I don't want to feel
like a slave to it, to be like, because last year it was like I was just like very like, oh, I gotta do it, you know, like I gotta finish all of them. And this year I'm just kind of, you know what, it's okay if I don't. But I haven't gotten any complaints yet.
You did like half of the month. I think you're good.
Yeah.
I think
it's because like I got like super vigilant about it because they like released the list like like several, like almost like a month early. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna like get caught up and do all this, and then once October hits, I'll have a lot of them already done. But then they ended up burning me out too quickly, I think.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, you can follow me on my personal account at Earth2Zach, Earth the number 2 Zach, Z-A-K, and Letterboxd as well. Chris, you're on Letterboxd too, right? Same thing.
Yeah. I think it's just Chris Pistol.
Yeah, and I'm just the same handle, Earth2Zach. And then you can follow us on Instagram at our podcast account, AMP Horror. I don't know when we're going to do another episode. We'll probably do something before the year's over, some holiday stuff. Again, we're kind of just, I needed a break if you missed any of that, if you didn't see any of the stuff on Instagram. We're not on Twitter anymore, but
it was a rough summer for me too.
Yeah, I needed some time to myself, and doing much better, doing well. And yeah, this is fun to do. And I hope everyone has a wonderful Halloween. Stay tuned. We'll do some other stuff, and Casey will probably be back with us as well. Melody, it was wonderful having you on as always. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. And again, everyone have a wonderful, happy, spooky, scary Halloween. Eat some good candy, watch some Halloween specials, light some scented candles, eat some pumpkin bread.
Invite Vincent Price over to hang out with you.
Yes. And we'll see you guys soon. Happy haunting.